Hey there, this is Bill Dodd. Today in this video, we're going to talk a little bit about using software to maybe augment a lack of gear. I started processing these photos from a photo walk in Fairhope from this weekend, and I guess it kind of occurred to me that if this may be a really good one to record on. I was in front of this little what is this place? I guess a bistro or Italian restaurant, and it has this really you know cool architecture, and the sky was kind of behaving, and it was about an hour before sunset, and um, it occurred to me that I really wish I had a wide angle lens. I carry two camera bodies, Panasonic Lumix Micro Four Thirds with a stock kit lens, and then I carry a Nikon D7000 DX format crop sensor with an 18 to 200 millimeter lens, and that's the only lens that I have, and that except for maybe using a telescope as a prime on occasion. And of course, I'd love to, one of these days um, get into a nice wide angle lens, a landscape lens, and maybe a real good sharp prime lens for portraits. But we shoot with what we have. So when I was standing in the street here, I knew that I really wanted to get sort of this corner, and I didn't get enough of it. It looks like, but I also knew that I wanted to get this this entire building in, and I couldn't get the entire image without standing in front of the road. And then if I had backed up anymore, there were cars in the way, and parked there, and so it just I just knew that there wasn't a location, there wasn't a way for me to get far enough away to be able to fit this in my 18 millimeter lens. And so with a little bit of pre-planning, I said, well, let's take shots of this in quadrants, and of course I did brackets as well, and then with intention of making it into a panoramic later, and sort of pretend that I have the wide angle lens through processing. So as I started to process these images, I decided I'd go ahead and start a screen recording because it's kind of interesting, and I don't know how it's going to turn out, but it may. Yeah, so here's the four images that I guess we're going to use. We've got a good view of the sky and some of the street. We have a little more of the pillars to the right, and then the bottom portion of the pillars to the right, and then the street itself. Now, I should have taken the shot in such a way to have gotten more sidewalk, and that's just whoops. But I think we can fix that. So what I'm going to do is, and I guess these are HDR shots. These are HDRs built from the brackets that I had shot, and I processed them in Photomatics, and I used the same settings. So one of the things that Photomatics will do is when you drag a bracket in and you process those images and do whatever you want to do to them, the next set of images you drag in will have your previous slider settings for all of the detail and contrast and color saturation and all that will be set exactly the same. So I set them the way I wanted them for the first shot, and then just applied exactly the same settings to the next three shots so that we can ostensibly combine these into a panoramic, and then do a bunch of content aware fill and other things to make it fill in for some of the details that I'm missing. So here I'm passing into Photoshop the photo merge tool. There's a few ways to do it. If you don't have Lightroom, you can go to the File and Automate menu, and it's inside here is photo merge, and here Lightroom just passed it in and brought it up, and I'm just going to take the defaults. It'll know what to do, I think. So here you can sort of watch Photoshop do its thing. It's looking at content, in the image, and trying to match up the various quadrants to build this final photo. And my hope is that by taking the shots in different, quadrants in this way, the result will be that sort of almost kind of bulbous corner, wide angle-ish sort of feel you get from like a 14 to 24 lens, where something kind of pops out at you, and it's almost curved or curvaceous in how it kind of works out. And so I know that I'm going to have to do some work around the tree to the left hand side, and I know I'm going to have to rebuild some of the sidewalk, but I think all of that will be doable. So cool. We've got this image now that looks like I had a wide angle lens, and it's made from those four exposures, and obviously there's some things we'll have to fix because of um, the kind of work or the way that Photoshop stitches and seams and distorts an image to do that. But so yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just flatten that out and create a working layer, and let's see, start doing some work on it here. So in this part, I'm gonna, for the sake of human attention span limits and YouTube length limits, I'm gonna go into super speed and show the fast forward version of this. But basically, what we're doing is doing a lot of content aware fill and spot healing. If your version of Photoshop does not have content aware fill, then you could just use the clone stamp tool. And I did have to use the clone stamp tool here considerably to try to fill in some of these missing areas and try to get the sky right. And so you can sort of see me, walking through, and just persistence pays off. You just keep at it, keep healing various areas, and keep masking in with you know blurry versions of them on the back end if it's the sky. And eventually you end up with a sky that looks believable, I guess. You know the sort of the point here is just trying to fill in some of the areas that were gone from the composition. I may never use those. I may end up cropping them out in anyway, but it's best to have something there instead of white border so that I can get the crop that I'd like on the final image. So there we have it. I think we have a nice photo that looks a little bit like we had a wide angle lens. And I follow these guys online that are these professional, famous photographers, and they have unlimited budgets, and they can carry anything they want. I mean, they can get any kind of lens, and I applaud them for that. Congratulations. But I am not one of those people. I do not have a photography budget, and so if I can get by using software to at least work around the deficiency in gear, I think it's a nice skill and a nice ability, a nice opportunity to have. And I believe the shot, while not perfect, at least is you know most people would see it and think that it's a wide angle lens shot. So thanks for watching, and you can send me notes and death threats and jokes and pictures of your animals or something at you can just go to www.graffitivisuals.com, and you'll find my Google Plus, Flickr, Facebook, and MySpace page with annoying music playing and all that fun stuff. So anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you got something out of this and it wasn't entirely too boring. Thanks again.